Hi, both. Thanks for joining us today on our Business Gurus channel, where we will be discussing key business topics to help students grasp the most important elements of their course in preparation for their exams and future career. Let's get started.
Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're jumping straight into something core to business strategy, the marketing mix. You probably know it as the 4Ps: product, price, promotion, and place. Our mission today isn't just reciting definitions, that's, the basic stuff. We want you to really grasp the strategic thinking behind it, how these four elements work together, how they're integrated,
Uh,
and why that tight, consistent integration is, well, pretty much the only way to build a real competitive edge that
and
lasts.
then dynamic interaction is absolutely key. It's not some static checklist, where you just tick off four boxes independently.
Right?
Think of it more like a finely balanced mobile, maybe. Each part is really tightly connected. So
Yeah.
if you make a big strategic change in one area, like, say, you mess with your pricing,
Okay.
it doesn't just influence the others. It basically forces them to respond.
Yeah.
You change where you sell something, your place, and suddenly your product features have got to align with that new channel. It all has to work together.
Okay, let's really unpack that. The classic scenario, the one that shows that sort of mandatory response, is the domino effect you get when you change the price. What actually happens inside a business when they decide, right, we need to drop our price a lot to grab more market share?
Well, potentially. Immediate chaos, or at least some serious internal adjustments. You can't just slash the price and hope everything else stays the same. It doesn't work like that.
No, I guess not.
To make that new lower price point actually make sense financially, the product team, they've got to look at stripping things back almost immediately.
To scoping, you mean?
Exactly. They might need to simplify features, maybe use less expensive materials or, remove some of those premium touches that cost more to make. The lower cost has to be reflected in the product's actual function, maybe even its look and feel, the aesthetics. Otherwise, your profit just vanishes.
Yeah, I can just picture the tension. The product designers who love all the features versus the marketing folks pushing for a cheaper version.
Oh, absolutely. That's where strategy gets real. It becomes a negotiation. And it instantly spills over into promotion, too. If you're suddenly positioning yourself as the budget option.
You can't advertise like your Rolls Royce.
Precisely. You can't be spending big bucks advertising, say, exclusivity or fine craftsmanship. Your whole promotion strategy has to shift. It needs to shout value, efficiency.
Hmm.
You're not selling status anymore. You're selling savings, maybe practicality. The message has to fit the price tag.
In the place where you sell it. That's huge too, right? If you're selling something cheap with thin margins, putting it in a fancy high-rent boutique.
Forget it. Your margin disappears instantly.
Hmm.
The strategy for place your distribution channels has to pivot towards low-cost, high-volume models.
So like supermarkets or big discount stores.
Yeah, exactly. Discount retailers, supermarkets, or maybe pushing really hard on an online-only approach to cut out that extensive physical store overhead. The main takeaway here is changing your positioning, like dropping the price forces these deep, sometimes pretty painful changes across product, promotion, and place just to keep things coherent. It's a whole system change. Now let's flip this. Instead of just reacting to price pressure, let's think about using the mix proactively, for competitive advantage. The reason businesses deal with all that internal friction we just talked about
Yeah.
is because a really well-integrated marketing mix is probably their strongest weapon for standing out in the market, for differentiation.
Mm-hmm.
It helps create an edge that rivals find genuinely hard to copy.
And that's where it gets really interesting, isn't it? Because a competitor might be able to quickly copy, say, a new product feature you launch, or maybe mimic your advertising slogan. But copying a completely integrated four-part strategy that's woven deep into how your company actually operates, that's much, much harder. That integration itself becomes your defense, your competitive moat. The textbook example here has to be Apple, right? They didn't just luck into their dominance, they seem to have meticulously engineered their competitive advantage through, well, ruthless integration of these four Ps.
Absolutely. Think about it. Their product is all about seamless function, wrapped in that iconic minimalist design, the aesthetics.
Instantly recognizable.
Yeah. Then their promotion isn't just about features, it's about aspiration, this whole brand of mystique. Their price, unapologetically premium, often the highest out there.
Yep.
And their place where you buy it is defined by these super exclusive, tightly controlled retail environments, often their own stores, which is key. What's really crucial to see in the Apple case is the sheer depth of that control. Okay, the premium price reinforces the high-end image, sure, but their ability to actually charge that price is defended by their distribution strategy.
Yeah.
Well, they don't just let anyone sell their stuff anywhere. They control the environment, the whole customer experience, even the training of the staff selling it. Think about the massive effort that takes organizationally to keep the secrecy and exclusivity they need for their product launches and to justify that premium price.
Right.
They have to maintain that tight control over their place. This isn't just a marketing choice, it's a huge operational commitment. Investing in prime real estate, intensive staff training, things a competitor can't just decide to replicate overnight. It's that deep structural coherence that makes their strategy so resilient, so hard to crack.
But I wonder, though, just playing devil's advocate here, is there a risk that by aiming for that super rigid, perfect harmony, you actually become a bit inflexible? If a competitor suddenly disrupts things, maybe launches a comparable product way cheaper, does Apple's beautifully integrated mix become like a gilded cage? Does it stop them reacting fast enough?
That's a really good question. It definitely touches on that tension between adaptability and stability, which maybe we can circle back to. But for the duration that a strategy holds, that stability is power. A truly integrated mix creates something incredibly valuable for a business. A strong, instantly recognizable brand identity. And that leads to customer loyalty, because the brand promise, what people expect, is consistently delivered.
And the flip side is inconsistency absolutely kills a brand. If you say, promote a product as top-of-the-line performance gear, that's your promotion, but then you cut corners on the actual quality, the product itself. Or maybe you sell it through channels that feel cheap or down market. The Place customers notice that mismatch straight away. They feel confused, maybe even misled, and rebuilding that trust, almost impossible.
We see the power of consistency of that harmony really clearly when you look at a giant like Nike. Their challenge is immense, managing this huge range of products across tons of different global distribution channels.
Yeah, everywhere.
While somehow maintaining that single aspirational identity, it's quite a feat. Okay, so Nike's product. Top quality sports gear, trainers, synonymous with performance. The price is generally premium, though they have different tiers, making it somewhat accessible. Their promotion, globally famous. Athlete endorsements, motivational slogans. It's about more than just the shoe.
That just do it factor.
Exactly. And crucially, their place strategy is really complex. They sell through thousands of independent retailers worldwide, plus they have their own dedicated flagship stores and a very strong direct-to-consumer online business.
That multi-channel thing is a key difference from Apple, isn't it? Nike has to make sure that, say, a $200 signature basketball shoe sold in their fancy flagship store feels like it represents the same core brand values as maybe a mid-range running shoe sold online or in just a general sports shop.
Precisely. And the way they manage that coherence is interesting. The fact that the price generally stays premium and the promotional messages always hammer home peak performance and aspiration, those act like guardrails across all those different places you can buy Nike stuff.
So the promotion supports the price.
Exactly. The athlete endorsements, the promotion, they validate the price. And that premium price reinforces the perception of the product's quality. It all works together. This harmony strengthens the brand overall, even when the product is sold in wildly different settings.
Okay, so we've been talking about the 4 Ps as these practical tools, these levers managers pull. But we should probably connect this back to the sort of bigger strategic concepts that managers are actually wrestling with day to day.
That's a good point.
When a manager is tweaking the product P, they're not just thinking about, say, plastic versus metal. They're engaging with much bigger ideas right now.
That's absolutely right. If we zoom out to the bigger picture, all these tactical decisions about the marketing mix, they're really components of overall strategic coherence. When we talk about product, we're fundamentally dealing with function. Does it actually do the job it's supposed to? And aesthetics, how does it look? How does it feel? And those two together really define the design mix. And then things like pricing decisions are often heavily influenced by where the product is in its product life cycle.
Yeah.
Are you pricing low and aggressively for market penetration because it's a brand new product in the introduction phase?
Right.
Or are you maintaining a high margin premium price because the product is mature, established, like Apple often does?
Yeah.
All these choices ultimately are aimed at achieving effective differentiation, setting yourself apart from the competition in a meaningful way.
So that puts the 4 Ps in context. They're like the hands-on toolkit you use to actually implement those higher-level strategic goals like differentiation or managing the life cycle.
The execution learning.
Right. So the core lesson here for you listening in is that real success in strategic business decisions hinges on this fundamental commitment. making sure the four Ps move together, they adapt in sync when things change externally, and that they stay completely harmonized, acting like one integrated force to differentiate your offering and build that crucial customer loyalty. That deep level of integration, operationally and structurally, that's where your real sustainable competitive advantage lies. And with that deep dive into the strategic architecture of the marketing mix wrapped up, we just want to say thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks. And maybe just before you go, let's quickly loop back to that idea of rigidity versus adaptability we touched on earlier.
Okay.
We spent a lot of time talking about how vital deep consistency is for brand strength, but here's something to chew on. What happens when massive external shocks hit? Like a sudden game-changing technological leap, or maybe a disruptive new competitor just blows up the old rules.
Right when the ground shifts under you.
Exactly. What forces you to rethink your entire carefully integrated mix all at once? When do you decide that the stability you gain from that perfect harmony is actually less valuable than the flexibility to maybe, just maybe, tear it all down and rebuild completely? That decision, whether to defend the existing mix or abandon it for something new, that's probably the ultimate test of strategic leadership, something to mull over as you tackle your next big challenge.
Thanks to both of you for joining us today. You've been listening to the Business Gurus. Let's now hand it over to you. What further questions do you have based on what we've discussed so far? Leave a comment and we'll get back to you right away. If you haven't already, hit that follow for more business tips.